All right, Nick, let's talk about the Chicago Bears. And one of the most exciting times of the year, at least lately, when you're a Chicago's Bears fan, is draft time because this team has done a lot of crazy stuff and made, in my opinion, some really good moves when it comes to the draft in the past few years with Ryan Poles at the helm of this franchise. But this latest news shows that the Bears are thinking once again there could be something going when it comes to draft night. I think this is some really exciting news. We'll get into the articles here in just a minute, but first, I'm Andrew, that's Nick, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, the Bears moving on draft night, something really exciting potentially happening, and there's a couple of different instances of people linking to Bears to doing as such. Let's get into the articles and we'll talk more about it on the other side. This first one is from over, oh, actually, both of these are from over on ESPN. It says, Jordan Reed says, keep an eye on the Bears at number 10 overall. I could see them getting some calls. If the Saints don't take a QB at 9, things could get really interesting from that point on. Yes, teams won't be scrambling to trade up compared to previous years, but there could be a surprise depending on which of the top prospects are still left on the board. Multiple NFL teams need a versatile tight end in their offense, so don't be surprised if someone jumps at the chance to take Penn State's Tyler Warren or Michigan's Colston Loveland. And I could see a team vaulting up the board for a top pass rusher too, even though this defensive line class is deep. So again, someone saying the Bears potentially in a position if quarterback slides to trade back in this draft, but also Field Yates, another great reporter, comes out and says, if we got a trade, I think it would manifest from a team trying to get Warren or Boise State running back Ashton Jeanty. Though Gianti could be a prime talker for the Raiders at number 6, the Bears lurk as an obvious potential home for either prospect. So an interested team might give Carolina number 8 or New Orleans number 9 a call to leapfrog Chicago. Both Panthers and Saints might be interested in loading up on picks. So this kind of eludes the Bears looking at another option to potentially hop up the draft. There's a lot of competition for players that the Bears like, and I think this is another option. So the Bears link two ways to draft. Any way you slice it, there's a draft trade possibility in the Bears' future, either back or up, and I think either one sounds really good. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this one, Nick, but first, let's hear a word from the sponsor of today's video.
With the NFL draft right around the corner, there are a lot of hours of preparation really being thrown into right now for one of the biggest nights of the entire season. So when we need to turn to a quick high protein snack, we go to the sponsor of today's video, and that's Magic Spoon.
Yeah, Nick, I think whether it's their cereal or their protein treats, Magic Spoon fits a variety of diets. It's high protein, no sugar, great for carb conscious lifestyles. Magic Spoon is basically your childhood reinvented. It's that same great taste that you remember, but upgraded with grown up ingredients. Magic Spoon treats, they have 11 to 12 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and 1 to 2 grams of carbs. On the other hand, though, Magic Spoon cereal, also very good, 13 to 14 grams of protein, 0 sugar, 4 to 5 grams of net carbs in each serving, so you can feel good about what you're eating. Now, Nick, you go ahead and tell the people about today's offer while I enjoy one of these treats.
Look, use our code SMI or click on the link in the description to try Magic Spoon cereal or treats today. And here's the most important part, you get $5 off. You can also find Magic Spoon on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. I know it's right by my Publix. I love it. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product. It's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee online. So if you don't like it for any reason at all, which you won't, you'll love it, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. So click on the link in the description to go to magicspoon.com/SMI or scan the QR code on the screen if you're big into QR codes for $5 off. Yeah, I think when you look at these reports, and again, these are really good insights, both Reed and specifically Field Yates from ESPN talking about the Bears linked two different ways to a trade. And if you look at the Bears historically, the last time they traded back, of course, was a couple years ago, I believe 2023. They moved back one spot to select Darnell Wright. The last time they traded up, I believe, is actually when they selected Mitchell Trubisky in the 2017 NFL draft. That's when they moved up one spot. So they're not known for making massive moves in terms of sliding up and down the draft board. But I really think Field Yates is onto something here. And this is why I think the Bears are about to make this massive trade to specifically secure Ashton Gianti. Remember, the whole promise of the Bears with Ben Johnson coming in was to fix Caleb Williams and to fix this offense. And we've talked about it ad nauseum this offseason on numerous occasions. In fact, Ben Johnson has said it. Caleb Williams has said it. The goal is to get this team a play action dominant team, just like the Detroit Lions were. A big part of that, of course, is the offensive line, and the Bears have done a great job in terms of getting better up front of the offensive line. They've actually crushed it. I think we all can agree. Phenomenal work by Ryan Poles securing and upgrading the offensive line with the veterans this offseason. Great work by him. But now it turns on the running back position. Now we know they're already solid at running back, but if you look at the Detroit Lions, what they did a few years ago, they already had a good line. They had some good running backs. What did they do? They went out and drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. And this was a time period when a lot of people were like, oh, running backs aren't worth first round picks. What are you doing? It was a dumb move. Gibbs has turned into a superstar, and the Lions have turned into the best play action team in the entire NFL. So we got a chart here. I want to throw this up. We've shown this chart numerous times over the course of the past couple months, but I think it's very insightful. And this is talking about adjusted yards per drop back with and without play action. But I just want to focus on the play action on the bottom there, the x-axis. You can see, I know there's a lot of data there. It's kind of hard to see. Jared Goff is all the way on the far right. That's Jahmyr Gibbs. That's offensive line. That's how you win games, right? That's how you win 14, 15 games and be a number one overall seed. The Lions have done a great job with Ben Johnson in the play action department. You can see Caleb Williams kind of on the bottom left there, well below the average of play action. That was an issue of personnel and scheme, right? They got the scheme part addressed with Johnson. They've done a great job on the offensive line this offseason fixing the personnel. Now they need that elite running back. Again, play action is predicated on a great running game. And it can't be just a good running game. That's sort of one of the misnomers. You're like, well, if we just run for 4 yards, we'll set up the play action. You need a running game that can bury teams by itself to really get great at play action. That's what McVay in Los Angeles and Shanahan for a number of years in San Francisco did such a good job. Because if teams just said, we'll let you keep running, they'd run it down your throat with elite running backs. You go back to Todd Gurley in Los Angeles. And then, of course, you look at Christian McCaffrey with the San Francisco 49ers, where if teams just said, listen, we're not going to stack the box, those two coaches will just run the ball down your throat for 5, 6, 7, 8, sometimes 20, 30 yards a pop. They will eviscerate you. That's what the Lions became this past season with Jahmyr Gibbs, and it's exactly what the Bears are trying to do here. And I think that's why Ryan Poles wants to get Gianti. If you look at the entire slate of moves the Bears have made this offseason in terms of their front office, again, focusing on the offensive line, it's all been predicated on giving Ben Johnson everything he wants, everything he basically had with the Lions over the past couple seasons. That's been Ryan Poles' mission, and it's been a great job, right? You bring in a new coach, a smart coach who knows what he needs to be successful. A great GM surrounds him with the pieces, the infrastructure he needs. Poles went out and did it with the offensive line. Now he's about to do it getting the running back. I believe a trade with the Raiders. The Raiders at this point are looking to add, I think, more depth, add more draft picks. They're not a great football team. They're trying to rebuild, fill out some of the holes on the roster. I think the Raiders are looking to trade back. I think it's time for the Bears to trade them. They get their Ashton Gianti, they get their star running back, and we see this offense take a massive step in 2025 and take a big leap specifically for Caleb Williams. And we see a lot of efficiency. We see a lot of production. And more importantly, we see a lot more wins out of the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, Nick, and I think what you say just really speaks to me because when you look at this Chicago Bears roster, and especially like you said, the great work they've done on the offensive line, great work they've done around a lot of stuff around the ball on the defensive line with the addition of Odeingbo, this team looks really solid. But the one thing that glares at me, the one thing that sticks out is the running back position. I think they have okay running backs. DeAndre Swift has had declining years in the last 2 years, getting worse results. He went in 2022 to 5.5 yards a carry, to 2023 to 4.5 yards, to in 2024 3.8 yards a carry. Just steadily has been declining lately. And Roschon Johnson, while he's that big back, he's interesting. He only had like 50 carries total last year, so not really a big sample size, and I don't know how much he can add to this game. In comes a guy like Ashton Gianti, I think would be a perfect fit and the perfect piece to finish off this Bears team that now, through all the hard work they did this offseason, through trades, through free agency, has been set up beautifully to go out and get the player they need. We talk about people waiting for the draft to come to them. Thankfully, the Bears, what they want the draft to do will be to them very early, so they may have to move up to meet the draft so it doesn't pass them by. I think Ryan Poles and co. in a perfect opportunity here to trade up, like you said, and go get Gianti. Now, I do agree with the other article that if for some reason something happens and Gianti is not available and they don't have the ability to trade up to go get him, then you look at a trade back opportunity. I think there's other things that you can do there. But I think being this high, being in such close proximity to going out and grabbing a top tier running back like this, it's just screams like a good move. This screams like a Ryan Poles move. Let's go finish off this team and really go all in a smart way. This wasn't like, a Los Angeles Rams all in where they went all in, they won the Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden they kind of had to like pretty much reset for a few years after that. This is a smart all in. This is a long term all in. I think it would be a really great one. Is like you also mentioned something I want to bring up is this was a time period where people used to say never draft a running back first in the first round. Running backs are not really, a commodity, something that we don't see. But the last couple of years, we've seen a changing theme here. And I think there is a theme still that running backs are interesting. And I don't know how much you need to pay them long term, second contract wise, how that's going to affect your team. But I think getting a good running back on a rookie deal, even if it's a first round deal, it can help your team out if it's that kind of running back, if it's a Bijan Robinson kind of running back, if it's an Ashton Genty kind of running back. I think they can really help out your team and help out young quarterbacks. A young quarterback that has a good running back, that will be his best friend outside of the offensive line. So I think helping out Caleb Williams, getting him his Ashton Gianti, now you got him his offensive line. He got Ben Johnson. At this point, if all of those things happen, this is Caleb Williams' team to, sink the ship with. He's got every single resource and life raft that he has needed, and now he just needs to go execute. So I think this would be a perfect move for the Bears and really set them up for some high-level wins next season.
And look, I know a lot of Bears fans are going to maybe have a little heartburn because the last time they traded up in the first round was for Mitchell Trubisky when they didn't let the draft come to him. And look, that's fair, right? You can have some scars with that. But I think the reality is you've built this entire offseason to give Ben Johnson everything he's wanted, everything Caleb Williams has wanted and needed, right? At this point, you're not in a situation where you're looking to pick the best player available. You're not in a situation to accumulate more draft capital. You're right on that pivot point from turning into a rebuilding team into problem solved, and now you're trying to take those next steps, right? This is not the time to be passive. This is the time to be aggressive, right? If you sit and wait and you end up losing out on a top running back, is it worth losing out on some cheap years of Caleb Williams? Is it worth losing out on a few years of maybe not as productive Ben Johnson offenses as you would like? I think no, right? Now is the time to be aggressive. You got so many great pieces, receiver, quarterback, obviously, offensive line, so much better. Defense is still good. You've got the right scheme. You've got the right leadership. Now is the time to be aggressive. And based on the reports we saw from Field Yates and company, I think Ryan Poles will be, and I think the right move to make here, and I think the Bears will do it, especially come draft night. It may come before. We'll keep our eye on it, of course, is trading with the Raiders, moving up to select their running back.